Yeah, and here's the other thing people got to realize. We talked about politics and money, relationships. You know, when you're with the right person, it makes all the difference in the world.
Oh yeah,
I've seen many
my
men.
wife is awesome.
I've seen many men struggle and fail with being with the wrong woman. I've seen men be successful, and the men that have been successful with the right woman, unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, it wasn't their wife that got them to where they need to be, which is sad. And what I tell these men is, and these women is, you know, you're only benefiting by allowing your husband to run.
Yeah.
When you create struggles in your husband or boyfriend's life, and you create drama and chaos and madness, that's going to hurt you because he's not succeeding,
Right.
and that money is affected. And I can't tell you how many in the past bad relationships I've been in where I've lost 30, 40,000 a year that I could have made, but because I had a girlfriend that would nag at you every day about, you know,
I used to fire people.
What?
I used to fire people. So I owned a bunch of shops, and I used to tell young men, if you're not married by the time you're 23, maybe 24, don't get fucking married. Go build your life. Start looking at getting married when you're 30, 35. You got all your money together, everything's good, and start looking young.
Well, yeah, I got a different philosophy on that, but
I understand. Well, I'll tell you why. Because in my life, when I started college, first year in college, meet a great girl, think we're going to get married, down to the wire. Something happens in her life, her whole life changes overnight. You can't fight that, man. You're crazy if you try and fight something like that. You just say, all right, I'm going to let you go. If you come back one day, great. Same thing happened about a year and a half, 2 years later. I'm at that point, like 22, 23, and I'm like, you know what? I got to get my shit together. I got to make some money, and I got to get my life in order, and I need to learn a lot of shit to do that. And I put my nose down, and I did not date for relationships until I was in my 30s.
But here's what I tell people. Like, you have to look at it from a holistic perspective and reality. And now you're a rare breed. Your relationship works.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
let's just be 100%.
I married my wife when I was 35. She was 24.
Okay, good. I tell most guys 35 to 40.
Yeah.
But why do you get married? What's the value? Because you know what a traditional marriage is? I'm going to blow your mind on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
A traditional marriage isn't what people think a traditional marriage is. If you go in the Bible, not one place in there does it say you have to sign a contract. Right? It says you get married under the vows of God, right? A covenant of God.
Yep.
And you know, the woman's yours. She's there to serve you. You're the husband. You're supposed to lead, protect, provide, all this stuff. But then modern day marriage is, oh, here's a contract. If you have a bad hair day, I lose my stuff. So I'm not against marriage. I'm against traditional marriage or progressive marriage, where you have to sign a contract. There's a zero net gain for me to do that. I'm not. So when people say, well, you're against it, no, I'm not. But why?
Certainly, if you're secular, I don't understand why any secular person would ever get married, because marriage is a contract before God. If you don't believe in God, why are you getting married?
but I do believe in God. My point is, I don't need to sign a contract.
That's true as well.
That's a government, because the government owns patent on it, right?
Yeah.
So you see what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily believe people should get married in the state. There should be in sanctuary.
Right. So here's what happens:
that's a long conversation.
You now lose leverage.
Right.
Because what castrates or emasculates a man is the leverage, because he knows that at any given moment, if she walks, all the stuff he worked for all his life to get where he's at is gone.
That's absolutely right.
He's like, what about me? What about you? Yeah. Right? You know, I'm not saying put her out in the street, but you don't have control and say of what she gets and doesn't get.
That's right.
And 70%, 56% of marriages end in divorce. 70%, I think it's higher. 70% of the women
80%.
file. Yeah.
I've heard 80%.
Well, 70% of the time the women file, and then 90% if they're college educated. Yeah. The point is now that the way modern society is and structured, why would I do that?
Right. No, I get it. So getting back to the first part of it, I used to listen to young men, like 24, 25, trying to build their lives, work in my shop. I'd say, hey, I'd go out. Hey, man, I need 3 of you guys to work overtime. We got to get some shit done. Okay, no problem, boss. I promise you at 5:30, man, one of them's going to get a call, and it's going to be his woman, and she's going to be wanting him to come home. And she wants him to come home right now. And he's like, but baby, I got to get this money. I got it, and I got a job here. I mean, this guy's giving me a chance. I got to prove myself. I got this. You don't understand. This man don't play. And I give him like a couple of those incidents, man. And I'm like, hey, man.
But he's powerless.
He is.
That's where the
and that's why you gotta smack him in the nose and say, don't do that. Don't let a woman do that.
What men don't do, and that's the problem is because
that.
they're afraid of the outcome.
Right.
Right.
I had to fire guys a couple of times because they'd be on their phone. Their woman would literally call the shop all day, yelling and screaming at them because she's pissed off and she's got nothing better to do. She's sitting at home somewhere. She's in school in between classes. And she's bored as fuck, and this dude is, and she thinks he's sitting on his butt. And literally, without fail, they all thought that this guy's not working. This guy's over there sweating.
Let me tell you what's worse is these like when I had a and this is a gal I was with before, right after my divorce, and I work remote because I run a tech company.
Sure.
And so now let's be honest, everybody here is on a computer. You're doing some work.
Yeah.
Alt tab if you're a PC. Mouse click if you're on a Mac, check out your social media, come back, you do some work, get on a conference call, Zoom, you might have your other screen up. And this girl that I dated, she'd come over and she's like, well, you're not working. It's like, yeah, I am. I work different.
Yeah.
Right? So what I do in 6 hours takes most guys 10 in my industry, right? So how I manage my day, I'm not sitting there just like computer programmers, engineers, software engineers. They're not writing code 8 hours a day straight.
They're staring at code.
They're looking at code. They're looking at their social media. They're on Facebook, on Instagram. They're going to lunch, hour and a half. Remote workers are much more effective and much more satisfied if you can work remote. So she'd come by, or she'd have a day off, and she'd be in my office at my house, and she'd be nagging me. Well, you're not working. It's like, you know what? You need to go do something. You know, go get a massage. Go figure something out.
Go do something.
But here's my point is that you're not bringing any value to me right now. You're bugging me. And I had no problems telling her no because I wasn't married to her.
Yeah.
You know, sure, she might be upset or whatever. Right. Too bad. But when I was married, now I was in a different situation.
Yeah.
I had no leverage to a point.
I don't disagree with that.
Now you're an exception to the rule.
Yeah. And my wife's awesome. I can't say anything bad about my wife at all. We
got 5 minutes. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I mean it. But I had to fire so many dudes over their women being stupid, and they knew it too. And I'd tell them, I'm like, you need to get rid of her.
I think the new stat is by 2030 that 50% of women will be childless and unmarried in America.
Well, I don't know if you've heard Andrew Wilson's take on this, but he's like, good. We're breeding them out.
And that's what needs to be done. And I know that's here's the thing. I've sent 7 of my friends to Colombia. To Medellin and Cartagena. Yeah. And the response I get is like, I should have came here sooner. And then other guys are like, I call them the blue pill guys or the softies. They're like, oh, they're paying for sex. I said, let me explain something to you. Women are hypergamous.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, a man's paying, whether it's transactional or untransactional. I'm not promoting transactional. Okay. Hear me out.
Yeah.
But if you're working at McDonald's with your Tag Youre hat on or your McDonald's hat on, okay, your age. I'm not saying you're old, at your age. Mm-hmm. And now the chances of you getting a date through a woman through a drive-through is slim to none. Yeah. And if she does want to date you, she's definitely not somebody you really want to date. Right, Let's just be real, okay? Probably have one too many cheeseburgers.
You'd have to have the best game on the planet to pull that off.
Now, if a guy our age drives through McDonald's and there's a 25-year-old Latina girl that's been here a year and a half from Mexico and she's a dime and she wants to go on a date with you, you date her because your value is different of what you're looking for. Your wife, how old was she when you married her?
She's 24.
And you were 35.
35.
There you go. Yeah. That's my point. But she dated at her socioeconomic level and above. Mm-hmm. Okay, she dated up and date down. So if men
don't care. We just don't care.
But you don't because you don't care about the money.
Right. We don't care about the money. We don't.
Theirs is about resources, stability. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the point I have is that you need money.
Yeah.
You need some kind of resources to a certain extent to get and attract what you're looking for through your eyes. Because you can always date, but it's hard to keep a relationship and a marriage with no income.
So men. At least most men I've met, whether they don't think about this, but they're not looking at any resources that the woman provides at all. and they just don't care.
That's a good point, and they don't understand.
Just don't care.
So I ask women. I hate this. What do you bring to the table? I said, what's your value to the? What's your value in the relationship? We know what you want from a man, but what does he expect from you? They go, I don't know. They literally have no clue. They just think they can show up and be pretty. It's like there's dozens of pretty women out there, but what value are you bringing to him? And when you say that to a woman, they're shocked. Yeah. They have no answer. Right. They have no answer. 100%. Well, I'm sweet. Okay. Wait a minute. I can go get a beverage that's sweet. Right. So for you, it's like, well, he has money. You go to the gym. My buddy says, there's 3 of us there. He goes, oh, I met this new chick. She's hot. Well, show us a picture. Yeah. So then you go over to the girls section. There's 3 of them. I met this new guy. Ooh, what's he do?
That's right. So, and there's an interesting thing where if you talk to a man, if you ask a man, what do you like about your woman? He's going to say, well, she brings me peace, or I really like the way she does, cooks whatever, or she's just really good with the kids, or whatever it is. It's never going to be anything where it's like she has a nice car, or she took me on some trip somewhere, something like that. If you ask a woman, what does she like about her man? It's going to be, oh, he provides. I mean, he gives me
treats
this.
me right.
He treats me right. He does this. He's just the best. We go on all these awesome dates. If you ask a man, literally, if you ask him, most men, if you ask them, what's the best time you spend with your wife? They'll be like, man, I just like to sit on the couch and just hang out.
You know what? And the number one thing, the value that we want is peace and respect. Right. Yeah. And love comes from respect. Yeah. It's peace. Now, the attraction is there. We already looked at that. Right. But man, I'm telling you, that's the lure, right? I'm telling you, man, if I don't have peace, I'd rather be without and be peaceful.
That's right.
Because to me, the peace is the prize.
Right. That's
I don't need somebody nagging in my ear. Yeah. That's right. If you're over obsessive compulsive about issues like that don't cause any value, like, oh, you didn't pick your shoe, this doesn't happen, but you don't pick your clothes up off the floor. I can go to the sink in the bathroom. It looks like a nuclear bomb went off. Look at the sink. Yeah. You got makeup everywhere. I don't say nothing because we don't care.
You don't care.
We don't care
because you know that she'll clean it up, or it's going to be fine. Here's the other thing with men. We always say it's going to be fine because we know it will be. Women can never say that. They can never say,
because they go off of emotions and feelings.
All emotions and feelings, and whatever emotion they have right that moment. And where I can sit there and be just so pissed off, man, just so angry, and somebody asks me, dude, are you okay? And I'll be like, it's going to be fine. Just give me a minute. I'll be all right. Mm. You will never hear a woman say that. Mm. And if you do, she's lying.
There you go.